This week, I point at a big screen, Dave points at a little screen, and I make some inappropriate gestures. Okay, so we're going to pick up the balance of episode 4, and we're going to head over to the big site to see the foundations going in. Before we do that though, we just thought we'd take the opportunity while we're in the office of showing you guys a little bit of the CAD software, how we produce a foundation plan, and obviously how it gets sucked into the system that Dave uses over on site with the total station. So let's have a look at that first. So we've received obviously all the structural calculations, and then what we've got is we produce then a foundation plan. So this has been produced on Tekla, the software that we use to draw the building, to do all the detailing, and then we produce this foundation plan. So that is obviously the paper version, and then that all comes from the electronic version. So there we go. So this is on the system now. This is just a PDF file, which is basically that. And what we've got is all the information. So we've got the bay centres as we come along. We've got where the doors are positioned, the personnel doors, the depth, the width measurement to where the personnel door post is to be centred. On this particular foundation plan, because this is going to be done with the total station, we don't need necessarily cross measurements, but if this was a standard sort of fairly simple, straightforward agricultural building, we would put corner to corner measurements so that we can make sure the building is exactly square. So just a final check before we do it. But all of this that we've got on here basically gets sucked into Dave's software on his computer, and then he maps it out, and what he does is he sets it all, loads it all into the total station, and then that's what you see him working with over there.
He's over there. Oh no, that's been far away.
All right, Big Dave?
Hello, mate. Yes, good, thank you.
Finished your lunch?
Yeah, we're on full now again.
Okay. Before you go back out, I was just explaining that that's the foundation plan that Tekla produces.
Yeah.
And then from that, obviously, we suck that, or you suck that information into your system, and then do all the preparation work in here, don't you, before you load it onto the total station?
That's right. Yeah, we get our main drawing office to send me across a DXF file. That's PDF at the moment.
Yeah.
We use a program in here called Microsurvey. It's a bit more of a construction-based software, so I can convert. Tekla works in millimetres, tends to produce all its drawings in millimetres. I need them in metres for construction.
Okay.
We open it up, it's already scaled in metres. What I would do with this drawing then is reference it to a 0 point here in this bottom left hand corner. So if you look at the scale here, we're referencing 0.002 millimetres, 0.001 millimetres off that centre mark. So when you see me out on site positioning the total station, I've already recorded the centre points of each of these stanchions. These are the stanchions for the building, they're shown in green here. The actual concrete is the white outer line, so when you see me on site marking the concrete bases, that's the outer shape here. So the data you see me working with on the total station controller is everything here that you see on this plan. We've now got the footings for a stub wall to go around the perimeter of the building. They're now drawn on here. And again, I can use these lines. These are what they call polylines, so they're basically a live construction line. If I click on them with the controller on site, they will give me a construction line to build to, again into the same tolerance that we were talking about on site, so plus or minus 2 or 3 millimetres.
Yeah.
And I can draw all of those exactly where they're drawn in here. We've got a small internal dividing wall going in here as well. We've got 2 mezzanine floor levels going in on this, so this is these intermediate stud posts, and then at this end will be divided off into a storage area underneath, and then above will be a workshop area.
Okay, yeah. So then going forward, obviously the next stage, once you've put the foundations in, we'll be looking at drainage plans and all the other bits, but I think we'll come back to that on a different occasion. But for now, we'll shoot straight back onto site as soon as Dave has got his coat and hat back on, and we'll go over and watch the rest of the foundations going in. So we'll leave Dave to go and carry on. We'll go and see him in a min. I've got a bit of paperwork and a few phone calls to make, and so we'll just let them finish off pouring the last few holes and we'll catch up with Dave. He's just setting the level up now, you can see. That's what he's working to. Obviously these ones, as we work our way down, look like they're set. So they've obviously been in now set, and Dave will have taken the point in the centre of the foundation pad, just there where the little hole is drilled. And that's where the staff would have sat when he sighted it through. So as you can see, these are offset to one side of the foundation. So when we were talking earlier about castrado and the overturning motion, you'll see that the foundation pins are set just slightly offset to the outside of the building to help give that bigger footprint on the inside. So obviously all these are set. You're probably wondering why there are various bricks and blocks and things like that, and bits of mud or whatever it is stone-wise sat on the top. And that's because on these size foundations we have a wax cone. So we have the bolt, which is calculated by the engineer, and he tells us what grade. So you grade bolt, you have a square plate washer, which is the bit that sits within the concrete at the bottom, so that acts as like a big pad to stop it pulling through. And then you have a cone. Now the reason for the wax cone is to give some tolerance. So when we take this timber top off afterwards, which is the template, and the hole centers on that match exactly the hole centers on the base plate of the steel post when we come to put it up, underneath there is a wax cone, so it starts narrow at the bottom, comes wide at the top, and then as you come to the top, it gives the bolt a little bit of freedom to move around inside that cone. So that looked a little bit wrong, didn't it? So I don't know how quite to do that, but so when we come to sit the stanchion down here on there, it gives us the opportunity to move the bolt if there's any discrepancies between the hole centers on here and what we've punched in the base plate, and also it will give us an allowance to move the stanchion by about 40 or 50 mil in each direction, whether it be side to side or in or out, to line and level the building. We'll come back to that in a later video, but basically we want every single post down this side of the building to be in a complete straight line. So once we put it up, it gives us that little bit of tolerance that we can move it 10 mil, 15 mil, 20 mil either way if we need to. Just helps get everything plumb and get everything where we want it, line and leveled. So because of them cones, and because effectively there's a big air trap underneath, it's almost like trying to push a pop bottle full of air into water. It's constantly trying to float its way back out. So although there is the weight of the bolts, there is the weight of the square plate washer, that mass of air that you've got trapped in there underneath that, there's no concrete in it, it's just an air pocket, so we need to hold that down to stop it floating out. So basically that's why we put weight on the top, and in this case it's just been some brick ends or whatever we've got our hands on that's nearby. So yeah, all poured, and looks like they've just finished pouring the last wagon of concrete, so we'll go and see if Dave's finished up. All right, Big Dave?
Yeah, not too bad.
How have you got on?
Yeah, it's going all right. Bit of a late finish, but got to be done.
All poured?
All poured, all finished. Yeah, all dug, meshes in the bottom of it all. We were supposed to have 59 cube of concrete, and we've had 60, and I think we've got a little bit just left over there that he's just washed out with, probably about 0.6 of a cube. So,
Oh, so we've kept them tight then?
pretty good, yeah.
I can't grumble at that.
Can't complain with that at all. Clients will be happy. Yeah, I'm happy.
Sounds good. No problems then, everything's gone to plan?
No, it's gone perfect. Yeah, the lads have done well. They've all worked together. Yeah, wagons have come in nice. They've been on return. We've had 3 wagons on return, so we've had a bit of a lag between the 3 have come together, and then disappeared, filled up, come back again, and then we've had 3 together, and then 3 together again, and then 3 to finish. So that puts a bit of pressure on. I'd like them coming a bit more of a regular intervals, but. Yeah, and we'd left one base out to dig at the end where we were driving the wagons in and out, so we'd had to just stand the wagon, get that dug out, get some photos taken of it for the building inspector, and then get it forward. So
right, okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so all in then, and just going back to your total station now, in terms of you're using this now to set the pins, and obviously when we did the timber tops earlier on, I did the cross mark on the centre, drilled the hole so the base obviously sat within. What tolerance have you got this set to now?
I've got it set to 3 mil in each direction, which is pretty tight. I could have it less than that if I wanted.
Yeah.
It's what they call a 1 second total station, so it's precise up to one second of a degree in rotation. So it's one of the tightest ones that you can get for tolerance.
Yeah.
Probably don't have to have it set quite that tight, but I'm pretty precise, and I like to get to within. So a couple then that we've just been doing, we'll have been between 5 and 6 mil out in each direction. So a maximum of 10 mil in total. 5 mil in one direction, 6 mil in the other.
But like I've just said before, we've probably got 50-60 mil tolerance on the cones, haven't we?
On these, the bigger these big ones, we've got even more. So we're well within tolerance. I've also got it set to do the heights as well. I've been keeping my eye on that, and we're within 10 to 15 mil on every single base. We're on a level site, so they're all 450 mil below finished floor level, and they're all running exactly plus or minus 10 mil.
Okay. So I notice when you pour the foundation, you use your traditional laser, don't you, in terms of while you're pouring?
Yeah.
Do you switch to this then, or would you rather stick to?
I'll stick to the laser level. Just this is a bit expensive to get splashed in concrete, and holding this it's quite heavy. So actually holding this over the concrete while you're pouring, the laser's just simpler. So we have that set up. But then when I've finished, I will be taking readings, what we call taking a shot of every base, recording the data in here. We'll take that back to the office, and we'll just check that they're within tolerance in horizontal, vertical, in both directions. I can give that to the drawing office then, and we can make any adjustments if we needed to on the steel length. But with this job, it's all good tolerance.
Yeah, brilliant. Anything you need a hand with?
No, I don't think so. I think if we just get these off, we've got three more to finish off, 3 little gable and mezzanine posts to finish off, and that's it. We'll get washed up and we'll go and get some tea.
Sound okay. Right, I'll see you in the morning.
In the morning.
So there we go. That's the end of episode number 4. Next one, we're going to go and have a bit of a show special. So we're going to look back at Lama, which was early on in January, and we're off to Yams next week as well. So we'll record that and get that ready for the next show. Looks like Big Dave and the team are on for a little bit of a late finish. I'm going to go and finish some paperwork in the office. But if you like what you've seen and you found it informative, then please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and we'll finish on a big site montage.